Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is by far the most highly requested one from my Instagram followers, and that is a video all about Pincha Mayurasana, also known as forearm stand. So I've compiled all my favorite strengthening drills, ways I use props, ways I can use the wall, and all the things I've learned from practicing this asana for the past few years. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so in case you couldn't see from the thumbnail, this is the pose we're talking about. So it's balancing on your forearms, legs in the air. As you can see, this is my personal practice. I've been doing this pose for years and I still have days where it's very, very difficult. So it just takes patience, it takes a lot of breath work, it just takes practice, so much practice. Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about is hand position. So you have right now like an aerial view of my mat. Ideally, this is the hand position you want. You want your forearms to be parallel. You can find that by clasping opposite elbows or biceps and keeping the elbows on the mat and then just placing the forearms right in front of you. So this gives you the most surface area to balance on. However, it requires very open shoulders, and that's why it's so difficult. So what I practice is I just bring my thumbs in so they're touching. It still gives me a lot of surface area to balance on, but it doesn't require the shoulders to be quite so open. So this is what I've been doing for the past while. I used to use some other hand positions that I can show you. A lot of people use this clasped hands with pointer fingers out. It's a really common one, and then some people just clasp the hands normally. I've also seen a lot of people use prayer hands. So really it just depends on what you find the most comfortable and what helps you balance. Try out all these different ones and just find what works best for you. But as always, we're striving towards this position right here. So the first option is just to place a block or a book or anything between your wrists to keep them from creeping in towards each other while you're upside down. This obviously makes it a lot harder, but it's going to train those certain muscles to put you in the correct position. So it's really helpful. The next option is to use a strap. This is just the strap that actually holds my yoga mat. So I just take one of the ends of these loops and make it wide enough to fit my arms through. And I'm going to slip it on so it's just above my elbows. And then when I go to place my hands on the mat, it's going to keep my elbows from splaying outwards. So your wrists might move, but this helps your elbows not move. This is my favorite exercise to help really open up the shoulders. It's called shoulder flossing, and I just use this rope. You can use a strap or anything you have that's long enough. Basically, you're just trying to move this rope up over your head without bending your arms and without flaring the ribs. So from the side, I inhale as I come up and then exhale as I take it behind me. Inhale as I bring it up and then exhale it back to the front. And then as you get more open, you can bring the hands closer together on this rope, and that will give you even more mobility in the shoulders. Again, you're just trying to keep everything else really still and only move from that shoulder joint. Okay, on to our strength drills. First, to build endurance for holding your weight while you're upside down, we're of course coming to dolphin pose. Now, really good alignment for this. We want to have our chest pushing through our armpits, like you're reaching your chest for your knees. You can have the legs bent like I do. If you have tighter hamstrings, if your hamstrings are nice and warmed up, you can straighten the legs. You want to be able to hold this for up to a minute, ideally, so work up to that and just work it into your daily practice. Okay, this next one involves dolphin as well. I call them nose dives. Basically, from your dolphin pose, you're going to shift your weight forward, taking your nose down to your hands, and then pushing back into your dolphin pose. You're just keeping the core nice and tight and shifting the weight forward and then back, trying to come back to that correct alignment in dolphin pose. You're really going to feel this in the shoulders and in the back and the triceps as well. Next up, we have down dog push-ups. So you're coming from your downward facing dog, lowering the elbows down to dolphin pose and pushing back up. These are very difficult. Go slowly and keep good alignment. That's going to be the most beneficial. You don't have to do a ton of these for them to be effective. Again, they're very difficult. Work your way up to doing maybe 10 a day. This one is pretty self-explanatory. You're just going to start in your forearm plank, walk the feet into your dolphin pose, and then walk the feet back out. Each time making sure that when you come back to your plank that your shoulders are over your elbows and your core is nice and tight. Just hinging at the hips to walk the feet in and then stepping back out. Okay, as you begin to start transferring weight to your upper body, start just by doing these knee tucks. So one leg, then the other. You're just rocking forward and lifting one leg at a time. This is just to test out the waters and see how much weight you can take on your upper body. If you're feeling warmed up in the hamstrings, you can take the leg up high. I'll show you in just a sec. You can take the leg above you, and that puts even more weight over the shoulders and elbows to give you a taste of what that feels like to be upside down in our forearm stand. And if you're feeling confident, you can start doing what I call kick-ups. Here I'm just keeping my legs bent in this stag position, doing 4 or 5 on one leg and then switching to the other side. Do practice both sides so that you build that strength equally, and in the future can do forearm stand from both legs. The wall can be a huge help for helping with alignment. So what I'm doing is measuring the distance from my heel at the wall to where my hip is, and that's where I'm placing my elbows. That way, when you put your feet against the wall in this sort of 90-degree angle, your hips are stacked above your shoulders and elbows. You can play around with holding one leg up and then switching to the other just to feel what that proper alignment feels like. And then of course the other way to use the wall is to prevent yourself from falling. You can kick up like we were doing before and land your foot on the wall, then use little kicks off the wall to find a little bit of balance. See if you can find that sweet spot and then place your foot back on the wall to prevent yourself from falling over. Now, if you're feeling comfortable away from the wall, here's a few ways you can fall safely. The first is, of course, to flip over backwards into a forearm wheel. I'll show that one more time so you can kind of see how my arms move out of the way. As soon as I feel that my balance has been lost and my feet are headed towards the floor, I shift my gaze to the ceiling instead of trying to crane my neck to continue to look at the floor. Option number 2 is to fall to the side, which you'll see me doing here. I let one shoulder collapse, let my elbow sort of slide on the mat and come over to the side. I'll show you one more time and then you'll see it from a slightly different angle. So I'm coming to the left side here. You'll see that my elbow sort of slides outwards and I just let my shoulder naturally fall the way it's wanting to instead of arching into my back. Here's a little clip of me falling, not on purpose, when I was trying to get a thumbnail for this video, so I wouldn't hit my plants. Okay, I know that was a lot of information packed into this video. Hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you found something that can be helpful to you. If you have any questions about anything you saw here or something you want me to dive deeper into, let me know in the comments. I'd love to start up a discussion and maybe do further videos in the future where we go into much more detail. So thanks for watching.